Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into Philip Dubois's incredible book, A History of France. But that begs the question, how on earth do you cram over 2,000 years of drama, war, and revolution into a single book? It sounds kind of impossible, right? Well, this book has a fascinating way of tackling it. Let's get into it.
Right out of the gate, the author Philip Dubois hits us with this. He's basically saying, forget the map for a second. France isn't just a place, it's a story, an idea that's been evolving for centuries. So we're not just reading a history book here. It's more like we're reading the biography of an idea itself.
Okay, so how in the world does he actually pull this off? Well, instead of just giving us a boring timeline of kings and battles, Dubois does something way more interesting. He zeroes in on these big recurring themes, these patterns that just keep popping up again and again throughout French history. It's a brilliant way to make sense of it all. So, let's look at the first one.
All right, first up, the book has to deal with just the immense scale of this thing. We're talking about a drama that spans millennia, and the way Dubois makes sense of it is by focusing on these huge, defining turning points that really shape the whole story.
And wow, you can really see that epic sweep right here. The book takes us on this wild ride, all the way from the Romans rolling into Gaul to Charlemagne's massive empire, then boom, the French Revolution, which just changed everything, and right on up to the modern French Republic we know today. That's an absolutely incredible journey, all packed into one narrative.
So that brings us to one of the book's first really big ideas. This constant, perpetual tug of war for control between the center, think Paris, and all of the country's fiercely independent regions.
Dubois paints this amazing picture of French history as this constant dance between two opposing forces. On one hand, you have the centralizers, think Louis XIV at Versailles or Napoleon's administrators, all trying to pull everything together and make it uniform. But then, pulling in the other direction, you've got these powerful local forces, the old feudal lords, the church, and this deep-seated regional pride that, honestly, has never really gone away. This back and forth, this tug of war, he argues that's what defines the nation.
All right, the next big theme is a real game changer. The book argues that, France didn't just have one revolution back in 1789. Nope. What actually happened was it kicked off this endless cycle, this absolute roller coaster of radical change and backlash that shaped the entire modern era.
And this just lays it out perfectly. Look at this. The 19th century was just dizzying. You get the revolution, then an empire with Napoleon I, that gets thrown out for a monarchy, that gets tossed for a republic. Then you get another empire with Napoleon III, before finally we settle back into a series of republics. It's just nuts! And every single one was a direct reaction to what came right before it.
Now, this is a really crucial point in the book. Dubois forces us to zoom out, to look way beyond the borders of France itself. And his argument is incredibly powerful. You just can't understand France's story if you ignore the story of its huge and, often brutal colonial empire.
And this is where the book really shines, because it connects all the dots. It shows you how wealth from the colonies funded the French state, how imperial wars shaped what it meant to be French, and how, after the colonies were gone, immigration from those very places created the multicultural France we see today, with all its ongoing debates. The big takeaway here is that the empire isn't some side story. It is woven right into the DNA of the nation itself.
Okay, so all of this brings us to the book's ultimate conclusion, its biggest and, I think, its most profound idea. It all boils down to one simple question. After all of this, what even is France?
Think about it. After 2,000 years of conflict and change, of glory and tragedy, what's the core of it all? What's the essence of France? That's the fundamental question Dubois leaves us with.
And his answer might not be what you expect. He says it's not about the land, it's not about a single language, and it's definitely not about ancestry or bloodlines.
Instead, he concludes that France is a perpetual argument, a never-ending debate that the French are having with themselves about who they are and what their nation means. It's a national story that is never truly finished. The final chapter is never closed. It's constantly being debated, reshaped, and remade by its own people.
So if the book's right, and France is essentially a conversation, well, that really makes you think, doesn't it? It leaves us with this fascinating final thought to chew on. What's the big, ongoing conversation, that unresolved argument that defines your country's story right now?